One of the things that fans don't realize sometimes when you head into a week 18, yeah, we've got all the playoff implications and the games and those type of things. Yes, we have some teams that aren't playing for anything, but you do have guys that have key incentives or escalators in their contracts, and everybody in that locker room, coaches included, are well aware of these incentives because it becomes a thing. You're trying to lift guys up on the team. You have guys that you love. So I wanted to point out a few of these incentives for us to all root for this weekend. And the first one is Mike Evans.
Let's get him. Get your money.
So Mike has an escalator in his contract. Okay, in order to unlock this $3 million escalator, which essentially means he'll be paid that $3 million next year in his contract, he has to have 70 catches, 1,000 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Okay, he already has the 10 touchdowns on lockdown. He needs 5 catches and 85 yards to get a $3 million escalator for next year. I promise you they're well aware of that. They're obviously, Baker's going to be and Liam Cohen, well aware of Mike's chase for 1,000 to do it in 11 consecutive seasons to start.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Yes.
Have you had this situation come up with a receiver before? Like, would a guy ever come to you in the locker room and go, "Hey, man, listen, I got an incentive next week. That's our last chance to get it. Are you going to be looking for me?" Like, is that ever?
Yeah. So
I don't know anything about this. I'm a lineman. Nobody cares what we do. But for you, like, the receiver wants a football. Does that come up?
So there was one. Jaquiz Rogers. Do you remember that name? He played at Oregon State. Yeah. I was on the Bucs with him, running back. Unbelievable human being, great teammate. When I was in Tampa, I think he had, the numbers could be wrong here, but he wasn't making a ton of money in terms of, relative to other NFL players. I think he had like a $500,000 incentive if he hit 35 catches. And so we were well aware at the end of the season. I think he ended up with 38. It was like, we got to get Quiz his money because this dude is a true professional. He comes to work every day. He doesn't complain. And this is something that within a game, like, we can be cognizant of this. I can check the ball down 2 more times than I normally would, probably help my quarterback rating rather than forcing it down the field. But Jaquiz was a guy we wanted to get those numbers.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's, as a quarterback, you do feel that when you have guys.
Yeah. I was wondering if you feel kind of obligated.
Well, the weird one, DeAndre Hopkins. So there's 2 different things. There's incentives where essentially you just get paid when it happens. And then there's the escalators that push up your contract numbers for the next year. But DeAndre, this year, he's got some stuff in his contract with catches, with yards, and with touchdowns. And so it doesn't look like he's going to hit the incentives with catches. Doesn't look like he's going to hit him with yards. He's 1 touchdown away from he already has received a $250,000 bonus for scoring 4 touchdowns. He's 1 touchdown away from hitting 6, which would give him a $500,000 bonus. So for a guy, you laugh and you're like, DeAndre Hopkins, well, he's made $140 million in his career. It still matters. $500,000 is $500,000. So for the Chiefs, are they going to play anybody? Is DeAndre going to be in for the first series or 2, or throw him in a red zone situation where you're going to throw him a ball up and see if he can get those 6 touchdowns? Those are the interesting things I think.
Yeah,
you have to pay attention to in week 18. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones.
You're saying get that DraftKings account ready and look for who needs what, right?
Well, I do think it's important. Geno Smith was another one as we're thumbing around. Geno's is kind of crazy. So Geno had 5 different categories. If he hit any of these, it would be $2 million in each category. Okay. And essentially they just took his stats. He can get all of them? He could get all of them. And if he hits all of them, that's $10 million in an escalator. Plus, for hitting all of them, $5 million, which would be $15 million in additional salary for next year. Wow. Some of them are out of reach. What they did was they took his stats.
That would mean you lost the bet. You would owe Sherm push-ups, by the way.
Yeah, but Sherm still hasn't given me any push-ups. But anyway, so passing yards, he has to exceed what he did in 2022. He's 180-something yards away, so we're hoping that Geno hits that one. That's going to be an additional $2 million. Passing touchdowns can't do. Completion percentage, he's about 0.3 above what he was that year. That's going to be an additional $2 million. Can't touch his passer rating, and unfortunately can't make the playoffs. So Geno is looking at an extra $2 million if he has 186 yards passing this weekend. So that'll be another interesting thing to keep in mind. Do you have incentives in lineman contracts, or is it like it would be based off wins or playing?
Yeah, starts, playing time type stuff. Like,
well, if you're big time like you though, like usually it's not incentives, it's guaranteed and it's put in there, and you don't mess with this stuff.
That's not true, Fitz. That's not true. My last year,
it's workout bonuses in the off season. Right.
This has never been told. I won't tell the whole story because some of it's too self-serving for me to share. But my last year as a Los Angeles Ram, they came to me and were basically like trying to fix the salary cap. It was me, Michael Brockers, a couple other guys. You know, Brock obviously didn't end up coming to terms of a reworked contract and signed somewhere else. I did. I took a pay cut to basically make my contract where I had to play in the games to earn kind of half the salary back. So that was kind of my incentives. And the wild part is I actually gave away a $3 million incentive I had earned to move it to the next year. And instead of getting paid for it so that it could affect the salary cap differently. And that led to some of the things that we were, I'll say it this way, able to acquire in my last season that helped us win a Super Bowl. So
wow, that's
pretty
awesome.
Insane story, but never really told that one before. But that is a fact.
That's awesome. And that's the kind of guy that you are. So that makes a lot of sense. Me, I was never giving away any money. Whit, I was always trying.
Give me the money.
The one that was interesting for me, I signed a 2-year deal in Miami. My first year, I had, so I had an incentive based on playing time. It was a $5 million escalator, like that became fully guaranteed in the next year if I hit a certain amount of playing snaps. Like, so the way they do it is they just do percentage of offensive or total offensive snaps divided by the amount you played divided by the total snaps, and they'll give you a percentage from there. And so I had to play 75% of the snaps on offense for the Dolphins that year to hit this $5 million escalator for the next year. Well, after the first 2 games, I got benched and Josh Rosen played for 2 games in a row, and then I played the rest of the season. But coming down the wire, look, the season was over. It didn't matter. If they wanted to, they could have said, hey, we're going to sit you down for the last few games, and all of a sudden take away the last half of that $5 million, $2.5 million that I would have earned as an escalator. But I give credit to Chris Greer. I give credit to Brian Flores. They kept me in. I ended up playing 81% of the snaps that year, earned that escalator, which gave me an additional $5 million the next year. So thank you to the Miami Dolphins organization for not doing the silly thing of trying to save some money. And I really appreciated that in 2019 from the Dolphins.
That's pretty sick, dude. That's awesome.